I actually picked up a little lingo when I was in Iceland. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Air Canada flight 1935 with service to Toronto is a full flight tonight.
Like, it's pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all that I picked up on was 3 days in an airport.
So it doesn't really help us in the situation right now.
Well, it helps if you want to know if your flight
If flight
is full flight today.
Is that what you said?
It's our 1935 with service to Toronto is a full flight today.
It's like a soft rounding of your voice, but also
Yeah.
like emphasis.
Like I can hear
Like,
her.
yeah, no, I can.
When I close my eyes, I'm back there.
And I hate it. No, I actually like hate airplanes so much. And like planning this like a road trip, I'm like, oh my god, it's just so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Like the amount this cost would be the cost of flights maybe anywhere.
Yeah.
If not like less.
No, literally. I know, I keep being like, I don't know if I can do it. I'm like, it's
The cheapest option.
It's literally like the cheapest trip I will go on in a
Yeah,
year.
literally.
So I think I'll be okay.
Literally.
I will.
It's because you really can't make that much noise even if you try.
Carson can.
No, that's what, like that's he like dislocates his jaw. Or
He can do it really loud, and it's.
I'm trying to push my bottom jaw forward.
Ew.
Hey everyone.
Hey guys.
Episode 27.
Mm-hmm. 20 something. We could just say that for every single one.
What have we been doing?
Yeah. I checked though. I was wearing this hoodie and then I checked and I was like, okay, it's been 4 episodes since I wore this hoodie, so that's okay. And that's my rule.
Sorry, it's not like a age joke. That freaked me out.
That was like
there's a human
animated.
In there. I saw no, what? 27. I was like, there's a song with 27 in it. One Direction, I Would. Like, would he say he's in L-O-V-E? Well, if it was me, then I would. That's on the second album, so you wouldn't know it. But Louis has a little bridge part, and he's like, how's it go? I can't compete with your boyfriend. He's got 27 tattoos. They were so funny.
You know what else? There's a song called 27 by Fall Out Boy.
We just have all the answers.
Yeah.
How does it go?
It's got to be One Direction and Fall Out Boy.
How does it go?
I don't know. I didn't download it when I was in grade 5, so I don't know the lyrics.
So that means it sucks.
No, that just means I didn't. There was like most of the songs I downloaded in grade 5, I know the lyrics to. Mm-hmm. And then there's just a couple that I didn't have enough money with iTunes gift cards to buy. So like half of Folia Do I don't know, but I'm learning now.
So it's just like a little too privileged for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got off work.
Sorry, I've been doing absolutely nothing today.
No, I
drove Carson to work.
Really?
It's my whole day.
He is the most needy person ever.
I also needed something to do.
He's basically like having a boyfriend, but you gain nothing from it. You get all the duties, but none of the
perks. Yeah. I have to start acting like he's my actual boyfriend in public and just go over the top with it. I think that's my next bit. Is like calling him pet names in public and going like over the top. So watch out for that one.
I will, and I'll be terrified.
You know what
else? Just don't tell him.
No, exactly. He'd be so mad at me. I had a little idea because I texted you and I said I was listening to the latest episode and we fiddle with this. I switch hands all the time and you like fiddle with this and you can tell it sounds like we're punching each other.
Oh, really?
It's so funny. So I had a couple of these just rolling around my house and I thought,
yes!
If you want.
Okay, how do these ones work?
Okay. This one's spinny. This one's like like a fidget spinner. This one's my favorite. It's just a marble in like a.
Oh.
But you can do you can do a little one of those. Whatever. Love this thing, and then that's just a pop it.
Just the 3 of them pop.
Yeah.
Let me try them out. I don't like how there's only 3 that pop.
Yeah. Well, I got it in a Christmas advent calendar.
It's so loud, dude. And it's not Christmas, so this one sucks.
Well.
This one's like
I'm gonna try this one out.
It's just the rest of the podcast.
These things
is
are like
ASMR.
dangerous to me.
Why?
If I get my hands on them,
Oh, she's
get sucked in.
literally. It's going so fast. It's going so
We're
fucking
getting
fast.
so distracted. That one's sick though. I love that one. My sibling doesn't like it. But I got both of them. It's nice.
It is nice. It's like sturdy.
Yeah, you just squeeze it.
Taryn and Carissa rate fidget toys.
That one's 10 out of 10.
Social
This one-
recluses. What's the other funny word? Cute. Degenerate. That's the word. Sorry, it just came to me. I've been thinking about what the word is for so long.
Social degenerate. This is probably more noisy, but it's less distracting. It doesn't affect the audio quality.
The spinny one?
No, just these compared to us, like,
Oh,
fiddling
absolutely.
around with the thing. We definitely should have bought ones that were meant to be handheld, but these were, like, the cheapest. And
That's fine.
the best to be the cheapest.
And sometimes it's about the experience and the vibe, not the quality.
And the vibe, most importantly,
Yeah.
the vibe.
How was Iceland? Get to the point.
Fine, it was, like, cool, I guess.
Walk us through
I
that
have-
first night from hell.
Okay, well, here's the thing: is I don't like remember. Well, I can explain
I think
the
you
airport
can.
stuff. But like, if you ask me to do a play-by-play of what I did in Iceland, no idea. I have to look at my pictures.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I haven't even seen any pictures. Like,
well, it's because okay, so I'm gonna edit this podcast and then I'm going to. That thing is very special to me.
well, I'll make it not special anymore.
What were we talking about?
Iceland.
Okay.
Dumbass.
Well, okay, I'm gonna edit a vlog.
How do you say dumbass in Iceland?
I don't know.
Doom. I was waiting for like ass in like a Nordic language to come from me.
It'd be like Dumas. Dumas. It's from being on like the bus. I would just like, they say the names of the streets, and then I would just say it back in my head. And I was like, I could probably do an Icelandic accent, but I haven't practiced in private enough to debut it on the podcast. So,
How was the bus system?
it was okay. It was like, it's expensive and it's not really set up good for tourists, but they probably assume that anyone who is a tourist is old enough to rent a car, which is so fair. But once I got it figured out, that was like the thing I was the most stressed about, and then once I figured it out, it was fine, and I didn't miss any important big buses, so that was cool. And they have free Wi-Fi, so
Really? The buses do?
yeah. Well, I don't know if like the city ones do, but the ones that go out to the country do.
That's a nice touch.
That is a nice touch.
Sounds like you had so much fun.
Literally, like, I don't know why it's so hard to remember.
So she went on a
this trip.
bus.
So I went on a bus. I'll explain the Air Canada story because that's the most interesting.
Yeah,
The
that's
rest
what
is
we
just
went
like you know what Iceland looks like, but she crossed over the line with that one. Do you know what I'm drinking? You should try it actually. You try.
Is it your mermaid water? Unicorn syrup water? Water talk?
I haven't watched any of those videos.
Really?
No.
No, it's just, I don't know, it's just people putting, like, I watched Curtis Connor's video on it. It's people putting, like, literally syrup called, like, mermaid syrup in their water and calling it water. And it's like, that, what do you think mermaid syrup tastes like? They were saying it tastes like mermaid pussy.
What is that? What is
Like-
that?
Exactly.
Like salt water? Like, it's just brine?
Like fish, yeah.
Okay, just I'm gonna come up with a name for this. I'm gonna call it can only think of real fruits. let's say it's like a no, this isn't a good bit. It's coconut pineapple bubbly, which is new, limited time. My mom bought it, and pineapple juice and some mango juice. This morning I had
Like that mango orange stuff or just mango?
just mango juice. Mango nectar.
Oh, so sweet nectar.
Sweet.
It's pretty good.
Sweet semen. Delicious.
Not just good.
Not just good, delicious.
Wait,
The
pineapple bubbly?
coconut pineapple. So it tastes kind of like pina colada-y, but like not sweet. But I was like, I need a little bit of sweetness, so I put pineapple juice this morning, and then I just made another one of these, and I added a little bit of mango.
It tastes really coconutty. So
Yeah,
that's
which is great.
We
I didn't
love
expect that.
coconutty.
So shout out Michael Bublé. I don't think he made it. I think he's just a spokesperson. But
They have the same name.
shout him out anyways.
Our Canadian
So
brothers.
I hate Air Canada.
No
And
way. They did me wrong and they did you wrong.
they did. We have both been done very wrong. Well, I mean, the first time I was also done wrong with them delaying
I guess, yeah.
my flight, but in comparison, I was just chilling. I had planned a whole day in a town in Iceland that I had to cancel my hostel in and missed out on because there's only one bus that goes
Damn.
to the countryside a day, and I'm not old enough to rent a car. Or I am some places, but then they didn't have
pay
cars.
Fucking $1,000.
Yeah, I either had to pay $1,000, or I went to this place and they said, yeah, we do rent to 18-year-olds, but we don't have any cars left. And then the other places were like, we don't rent to 18-year-olds. So I was like, awesome. I walked like 40 minutes, and then 40 minutes, and then 40 minutes
Oh.
the one day, and then went to bed at 5 p.m.
Perfect.
But basically, my flight, I flew to Toronto. I had a 6-hour layover there. I think my flight was like early too, so it was like so long. I love the Toronto airport, but I had never been in the international part, which was terrible.
Yeah, you have. Or not like international.
No, international.
Okay.
Yeah, not because the Canadian and American I think is in the same.
Oh.
Domestic and.
But they'd still need to put you in like a separated area because you have to go through like some sort of customs.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyways.
The place with the place with A&W I had been when I went to the States, and then I was in when I was on my way home.
Okay.
So I just assume. But I had never been in the international part, which did not have an A&W, unfortunately. And it was really bad. It was so packed. There was like nowhere to sit because there like wasn't enough seating, but there also was so many people. And it was so hot in there, and there was like 3 places to get food, and it was like so overwhelming. Almost made me hate airports, but then I got A&W on the way home, so I like the Toronto airport.
So it's
again.
back at it.
And so I got to Toronto. I waited 6 hours, and then I waited like another 2 hours, and the flight kept getting delayed, and then they were like, it's canceled. And I was like, oh, now I have to figure this out, and I'm by myself, and this is like new challenge unlocked. So called my mom, and because they were like, Air Canada will cover $300, which I still have to figure out because I can't find my booking number. Whatever. And then
They're getting away with it.
yeah. So the big conundrum was, do I get because this was it was like after midnight. My flight was supposed to leave at 11 p.m. And then they're like,
Sorry, do you
we're
have the
putting
one?
the popping one
I need to go through all of them.
just back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
This one. Where was
It's
I?
after
It was
midnight.
It was after midnight. They said, we're putting you on a flight at 11 p.m. tomorrow. So I had like just under 24 hours
To be in
to
Toronto.
figure out what to do. And if you don't know, when you go to a hotel, you have to get out by like 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So what was I supposed to do? Because I can't rent a car, can't drive. I'm like, whatever. So the big thing that I had to try and decide was, do I get a hotel for cheaper by the airport and then sit in the airport for forever, or do I get an Uber to downtown Toronto, get a hotel downtown Toronto, which is more expensive, and then do stuff downtown, and then take transit back in. And I did decide to do that, and I had a really fun day.
Decision, yeah.
And
it's
also because I got to see Arnica, which was super lucky. She was like, I was so bored, I needed to hang out with someone, and I was like, thank God. But we had a really fun day. We went. So fun. It was. I was like, this is such a silver lining to this. And I got to stay in a hotel,
even if it was for 10 hours.
Yeah, it was like a pretty nice hotel. Well, first I. Oh my God. So I booked a hotel after like so long, probably like almost an hour of trying to figure out, like I called you and then I called my mom and then I tried to figure something out and then I called my dad. And then I was like, I just need to make a decision. Like, This is whatever. But I booked a hotel downtown Toronto. I bought an Uber for like $50 from the airport to downtown Toronto. I get to the hotel. I realize before I even go to the desk thing that I booked it for the next day because it's after midnight, so it just automatically went to that night. So then I went up and I said, hey, so I booked accidentally for the next day. Is it possible to just move it? And they were like, did you book through us? And I was like, no, I booked through Expedia. And they were like, yeah, you're gonna have to call them. So then I didn't call them. I went on like the little text support thing, and then they were like, we'll see if there's like cancellations. And I was like, awesome. So I just had to cancel that, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna eat $300. Yeah. This is like, I'm freaking out. So called my mom, and we were trying to figure out things, and she was trying to get me a hotel back at the airport, but then I was like, I have to buy another Uber to get back to the airport, and then I also still have to do nothing all day or get a hotel somewhere here. And then I got a call. While I was on call with her, like, not crying yet. I was very brave. But while I was on the call with her, I got another call, and it was from Expedia, and they're like, so basically there's no more room at this hotel that you booked at. And I was like, I'm aware. Understood. I'm so aware. And then they're like, but they've agreed to give a full refund. And I was like, yes. I haven't ruined absolutely everything and already spent like $1,000
just like that
before I even got to my destination. So got a refund on that, booked another hotel, took like a 10-minute Uber there. The guy had the windows down. I was like, I was on cloud 9. Like, it was 2 a.m. at this point. I was like, I'm so happy right now for no reason. I get to the hotel. I get up to my hotel. I'm like, slay. And then I get a call from the front desk guy, and he's like, so your card didn't go through. Can you like say your information again? And I was like, if my card got declined and I have to do something else right now,
kick you out of the room.
Like after I already put all my stuff down, I'm gonna freak out. And then I just said it again, and he was like, okay, it's fine. And I was like, whatever, take my information. I don't even care.
This could be the Uber driver, and I would not know.
Literally, I have no idea. And then I got to shower. I got to get cozy in my bed. I got to watch YouTube on the TV. And then, the next day, me and Arnica, we got tacos, and we walked around. We went on a ferry.
Oh, yeah, to Center Island.
Yeah, we got ice cream, and then we went on a ferry to Centerville Island. Mm-hmm. And then we went to this, like, amusement park thing, and we went on a roller coaster, which is so stupid. Like, the tiny, like, it's just an amusement park for children. Yeah. And we were going to go on the gondola, but then it closed early, so then we went on this, like, water log ride thing, like, really? Splash Mountain style. But it just goes up, and then it goes one thing and down. Like, it was so shitty, but I was like, I got to go on a roller coaster.
No, that was, when we went to Toronto, that was one of the things where I was like, do we want to do this one day? Yeah. But good thing we didn't, because it would have ruined the fun for you.
It wasn't, like... If we had planned to do that, it probably would have been so boring. And we'd been like, why did we come here?
Because you're so bored.
Really, but because it was like,
this is better.
Literally anything can be better. Then it was fun. And then I went back and I got on my flight. And it was delayed again. And I was like, oh my God.
This is never ending.
I literally won't have a trip if, like, they're going to owe me so much money because I had to cancel a hostel in Reykjavik the first night, and then I had to cancel a hostel in Skogar, which was like the town I was supposed to go to, and then I had to get another hostel in Reykjavik, and then I could just go to Vik. So I had to cancel 2 non-refundable hostels, and I had to pay for 1 hostel. So beginning of the trip, I'm already like, I've spent so much money, and now I can't just like spend money. So then I was like frugal on the trip, and it was pissing me off because I hate not being able to spend my money.
Exactly.
But it was fine. It was cool. But I also am like, yeah, I need to have friends when I'm traveling.
Or it's
I get
like
so bored.
Like, same thing like when we went to Montreal, we didn't really do much because also living frugally,
Yeah.
I'm like, this just isn't as fun. Like,
No.
unless you're like crazy and you like go to hostels and like meet people, and then you guys like, they're like, oh, we're doing this later, and then you go with them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's scary.
And in the hostels that I was in, it was mostly like families or like 40-year-old couples or like old people. Like, I barely saw people I know, and I was also in a hostel for 1 night at a time, and then I just stayed in an Airbnb.
Airbnb was cute.
It was really cute, and it was in a really good location, so I'm glad I did that. And I would way rather do that than stay in a hostel, but yeah, didn't. I talked to 2 old guys for like 30 minutes, and then like 10 minutes. Like, that was it.
30 minutes? That's a solid.
We were like on a bus from the airport to
okay.
Reykjavik. Talked to this guy.
What's his life story?
He's from Niagara, and he asked, we were talking about Iceland stuff. Like, he's not from Iceland, he was there to visit his son who married someone from Iceland. So he was like, do you know what the second largest population of Icelandic people is in the world? And I said, I actually do, can I guess? And I said, is it Manitoba? And he said, yes.
Really? That's funny.
Because I had looked it up, and then I was like, yeah.
Which said, actually I do.
Because he was getting ready to tell me as a fun fact, and I was like, actually. And then he was kind of like, oh.
You just ruined my fun. I don't want to talk to you
And I was like, yeah, I'm like really into trivia. But that was cool. I don't know. And then I was like, cool, I'm gonna like meet people and talk to people, and then it didn't happen.
No.
And I ate a hot dog, and it was gross.
Really? All that hype about the hot dog?
I had like a pulled pork hot dog, which was good. But there was no hot dog in it. I thought that it was going to be a hot dog with pulled pork on it. It was just all pulled pork. But it was like barbecue. It was like fine. It was cheap. It was the cheapest meal that I ate, so I'm okay with that. The one place, if you go to Iceland, if you, I would say go to Vik, little town on like the southern part. It's really cute. That was probably my favorite part, was just the little cute little town.
Is that where the black sand beach was?
Yeah. There was not a lot to do, so I was like bored. I spent like hours just staring at the ocean, which was
why not? Because you're like this, like south of Iceland just like goes down.
Just like looking at the ocean, being like, there's nothing for so long. But it was really beautiful, and I listened to a lot of music. So I have there's like 3 albums that I
associate.
That I had on heavy rotation.
You always gotta have those ones.
But I would say there's a soup restaurant. I think it's called the Soup Company. And you get a bowl of soup, and then it's free refills on the soup. And the bread they had was so delicious and fluffy. And then it's like Icelandic butter, which was so good. But they had like black sea salt or something in it. It was, I can't stop thinking about it. That was my favorite meal.
Her soup.
My soup. And there was a bunch of guys, like 20-year-old guys working there. And I was like, hey. I didn't say that.
Make any connections?
No.
Family or...
No. The one guy at the Airbnb that I had to cancel and I had to buy a room the next night, he was like, I was like, hey, I'm just checking out. And he was like, cool. He was just like in a room. I thought it was going to be a desk. He was just in a room with a computer. And then he was like, you canceled, right? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, your last name, are you Icelandic? Or he said, are you half Icelandic? And I was like, so like, yeah, but like on both sides, like half, but like it comes from both sides. And he was like, okay, I don't care. And so that was my second conversation.
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah, and then I was going to talk to someone at the Rock and Roll Museum because she was like not Icelandic, she was like American or something, and I was gonna be like, hey, where are you from? But then I was like, I like stumbled on my words, and I was like, I can't try anything right now. I can't be brave. Like, I just have to take this L and go.
But that was,
It was cool. The museums were cool. I loved seeing the mountains.
Yeah, when is
walking
like
around.
the prime like season to go to Iceland?
It's like August. No, it's like September. August, September, I think is like. But I think June is one of the busiest touristy seasons. But it's like warmest in August.
Nice. That would make sense.
And like the sun doesn't set in June.
Did you notice that? Like.
Oh yeah. It's like I'll show you a picture of like how dark it got. But I brought a sleep mask. That thing worked. Yeah. And I've been using it.
Oh, I don't think you need to sleep heavier than you already do.
No, but I mean like that was like at midnight.
Crazy.
And like that's as dark as it gets.
Did you stay overnight in Vic or did you just go back?
Yeah, I stayed because the bus only goes once a day. But I stayed in it was very cute. It was called the Puffin Hotel.
Yeah.
And it was just a cute little room.
It was a cute little Puffin Hotel.
Everything was so old and cute. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked Vic the most. And then Reykjavik was cool, but it was sometimes I was just like, oh, this is just a city. Like it was like
no, I get that.
kind of, I don't know. I was like, this is just a city. I took a bus to kind of like this peninsula part and walked around it, and that was cool because it was like the ocean. And I was also like, maybe Saskatoon's kind of like a clean city.
Really?
But also because we don't have tourists, I feel like.
We really don't.
Well, like, what is there to see?
No, but I feel like that's what I've been thinking about that so much lately, like just driving on like the freeway and I'm being like, this feels like I'm like coming home from the airport in a random city or something, like just a Canadian city.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess like people do like come here to visit. Like, what if we lived in like Edmonton and we were like, I've never been to Saskatoon. Like, we'd probably be doing that. And then I'm like, what touristy things are there to do here? Like, you have 3 days in Saskatoon. What do you do?
3 days?
Yeah, literally.
Staying in your hotel room the whole time?
No, like, what's even a nice hotel? Desborough, that's it?
You could go to, like, the Reme.
Yeah.
You could go out to eat. You could go out to eat, and then, so that'd be good. So you'd just be, like...
or something.
Yeah, you could go to, like, a movie theater. Something... You'd just be doing things you could do anywhere else.
Absolutely.
We're sponsored by Tourism Sask.
Literally, with that phrase. You can just, like, do whatever you can do in another city.
But, like, here.
But it's, like... Because the river, like, it is really nice.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about, like, how Regina's the worst fucking place in the world.
And, like, that's just all you need is, like, a body of water to stare at. Like, I could stare at the ocean.
A mountain or something.
Exactly.
Like,
I could stare at the ocean for
2
hours. And, like, in Toronto, you look at the lake, and there's, like, boats going by, and you can see the skyline in the background of the lake, and I'm like, I could stare at this for 3 hours.
Exactly.
You go to...
The river?
BC, yeah, you go to BC and there's the ocean. You go to here and then there's the river. And you can see across the river, but then you can see down the river, and you go anywhere along the river, and it's cool.
Like, just sitting on the beach and watching water flow is so
literally
just like
for
I'm
hours.
waiting to catch a fish with my eyes.
And then I'm like, this is so primal of me.
No, like, I literally have appreciated Saskatoon more.
Yeah, no, I like... It is actually, like, going to Iceland, and coming back, I was like, I actually like living here.
Aww.
Like, especially because, like, people immediately were talking to me. And, like, strangers. I had, like, 2 interactions where people were just talking to me, and I was like, no, it's like a little community. It's like, I also just hated feeling like a tourist.
No, I know.
Because I was just like, you guys don't like me. And I'm very obviously a tourist.
With your Sask shirt.
Yeah, my Sask shirt and my big backpack.
No, I was doing... Or Leo was like, Taryn's story was so real. Like, that's how I felt after going to San Francisco. And I came back and then, like, anyone talked to me. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, she responded and I was like, I'm so glad someone
can relate.
Yeah.
You guys are the soloists. Ask Farron. Too.
Well, yeah, I was talking to Farron about that, but she was like, I got that whenever she was in a hostel and she didn't really talk to anyone. Yeah. She was just like, oh, I'm going insane. But yeah, if you go somewhere like that and you're staying in hostels, and she was staying in, like, dorm hostels and, like, actively trying to hang out with people and, like, was able to drink.
Yeah.
And, like, it doesn't get dark there, so there's no nightlife. Like, everyone just goes to bed.
That's so true.
Like, if you go outside past, like, 8 p.m., like, I would just, like, walk out, like, go grocery shopping or whatever. At, like, 8 p.m., like, there's just no one outside. Because it's, like, nighttime, but it's not nighttime. It was just, like...
That's so funny. Because, like, guys live a little... That's why it's the safest country in the world.
Because I looked up how many homeless people there were because I was genuinely curious. So the population of Iceland is pretty close to Saskatoon, and the homeless population is also pretty close to Saskatoon. But it was like, because you can't survive there in the winter. Well, you also can't. It's the same here, but like, I think it was like 11 people were like actually on the street, and then. It's, like, around, like, 500 here and 600 there, or vice versa or something. Like, total homeless people. But also, Saskatoon's homeless population, 98% are Indigenous.
Look, that makes sense.
I was like, that makes sense, but oh my god. 98%.
No, and then, that's too personal of a story. I have to name drop. But no, it's just like...
Yeah.
It's like... It's almost as if it was made to be this way.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a system in place for that. And
you're trapped.
And that's not just like a... Yeah. I did write down... I feel like a monk who was sent away to become closer to God or whatever they do. And now I'm back with more knowledge, except the knowledge is just all the stuff I was thinking about for 10 days without telling anyone to.
You can say that again.
I also won at being an Airbnb guest because I took out the garbage, and I forgot that they rate you as well. Yeah. Like they give you a review, so I was so nervous. I like gave a review and then I had to wait for my review, and I was like, this is the worst feeling in the world. But she was like very nice, kept it very clean, and took out the garbage even though I didn't even ask. And I was like,
look at you.
Yeah. Can't even do that in my own home.
Oh my god, you had a new pop socket.
Yeah.
When did you get that thing?
When I got my phone.
No, okay.
I just need it. Baby hands.
Except you don't.
Except I do, though.
I have baby hands.
Because I don't drop my phone when I have this thing.
I don't drop mine either.
Well,
I have small
we're
hands
different.
than you.
Well, mine are thin. They're easy to slip out. It's easy to slip out. Yours are sticky. You have sticky hands.
I have sweaty hands. I think that should be a disadvantage.
But they're sticky though.
But they're
sticky. Mine are dry. It's just like dry on dry. Slicky, slickery, slippity. Slickery. I'll stop talking about Iceland.
Dickory dock. That's what that is.
The mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1. The mouse was done.
Tell your stupid joke.
It's not a joke. This is just a couple of just stuff I learned about myself from going to Iceland,
shit,
and I'll finish talking about Iceland with this. I learned I might not be an introvert, like at all.
Really?
Because I was like, I can hang out by myself. I like hanging out by myself, but like for a day.
Well,
I also have to talk to myself.
Because obviously people have to talk to.
I know, that's what me and like my dad and my sibling were talking about. But I'm like, I think I'm just like anxious. Because, like, my mother is an introvert, doesn't want to go outside, doesn't want to do anything, doesn't want to talk to people, wants to see her friends 2 times a month, or 2 times a year. And then my sibling also, like, just doesn't need to go out and do things and see their friends. And I'm like, oh, no.
No, that's, like, next level.
That's, like, next level. But I'm like, I'm just, like, bad at meeting new people.
No, I completely agree. And, like, I would, like, I don't know what I am, introvert or extrovert. Matter, some things are fun to know.
Yeah.
There's just so many labels. No. But, because I definitely do need to see people, except sometimes when I see, like, I have more than, like, 3 or 4, like friends that I'm actively hanging out with, like, separately, I get overwhelmed.
Yeah, well, I feel like your social battery runs out way faster than mine does.
Absolutely.
And also at a time. Like, mine will go until, like, nobody wants to hang out with me anymore. Like, I'm just ready for anything. It's like other people have to tell me to stop.
Tell you to go to bed.
Literally, and then I'm like, fuck, fine.
No, like, yeah, I do reach a point, like, whenever I hang out with friends, but it's also, like, I'll hang out with, like, you, and then it's like, oh, I have to hang out with, like, Leah tomorrow, and then it's like, oh, I need to see whoever, like, Farron or Carson the next day. I'm like, that's too many people, and I need to tell them all the same things.
Yeah.
So, like, unpopular opinion, get a boyfriend so they're just the one you hang out with.
You're telling me? Unpopular opinion, get a boyfriend. That was so pointed. I'm trying. Well, I'm actually not trying.
That was to the audience.
Okay. That is so true, though. Because then it's just like, you're just sourcing it from one source.
Exactly. And it's
like really efficient, actually.
It's like, if we're talking about energy conservation here.
Yeah. And like output, like instead of having like a bunch, you just have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're so many. No, I was gonna say, but I do, like, before I was in a relationship, seeing all these things being like, when you only want to, like, hang out with your boyfriend, or you don't want to hang out with your friends anymore, like, you change when you're in a relationship, and I'm like, why is that kind of true?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's not that I don't like my friends anymore, but it's just like...
No, but here's the thing. If you think about it, people get married and then spend the rest of their life in a house with their spouse. That doesn't happen with friends.
No.
You have friends, but it's not like, okay, I'm gonna, like, be friends with someone and then we're gonna move in together and spend the rest of our life together.
Exactly.
You do that with, like, a romantic partner. So, like, it makes sense that you would have a closer relationship with them and spend more time with them.
You're prepping.
Literally. For, like, when you have to continue the population, because what other
is there to do?
What other purpose,
do we have?
Another thing I learned about myself, which I already knew, but this is confirmation. I enjoy a gross city environment more than nature, and I don't know how to fix that about me. Like gross,
valid.
but like I was more happy at 2 a.m. driving. I was more happy at like like at 2 a.m. in the back of an Uber with the window down, driving through Toronto and just smelling the city air. I was more happy doing that than like walking around Iceland, and I was like, so this is a problem, though.
So you could spend a quarter of the cost and just gone to Toronto?
Well, like, I had to go to Iceland. I'm glad I went, but I'm just saying...
Yeah.
And I already knew this about myself. I already knew that...
Yeah, like, okay.
That's why I like Toronto better than Vancouver. That shouldn't be a thing. I'm wrong.
Okay, no. To be fair, Vancouver is like a gross city. Like, it's literally just Saskatoon. Like, everything bad about Saskatoon, but big. But wow, is it beautiful?
Yeah.
And like,
but like that doesn't make it good enough for me because I see a mountain. And I'm like, this is pretty, but like, the neurons aren't firing.
Toronto is like, I feel like it has more like culture and like like people who are like working and like working and moving. But I feel like Vancouver's more of a like almost like futuristic because like, they're trying to see how like they're taking urban design to the next level.
Yeah.
But no, I do, because that's the difference. I do like nature more, but I do love a good nightlife scene, bustling. Times Square was awesome.
Times Square, yeah. Oh, to drink white wine and walk around Times Square again. Man.
That was really fun.
Next, music makes me super emotional, but apparently most people don't cry to music. I asked Carson and I asked Farron, and I was like, you ever cry to music? And they were like, no.
I don't cry to music because I just don't cry. But right. Sometimes like there are certain songs where it's like I feel like that like weight come over me, and I'm like, fuck. That's a lot of Dijon songs do that to me. But like I do love like when a song can evoke an emotion out of me.
Yeah, that was just like the whole time I was there. Also, if you stare at the ocean and you listen to any song with like strings in it, you will get so emotional. But also like I don't know, there was just a couple albums that I listened to, and I listened to Soul Present a lot, like on the bus and stuff. And so I just
Soul Present or Soul Present.
Well, he says presents.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But it makes sense to be like present.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah.
So I'm right?
No, you said but presents, like to present. Wait, what are the options again? Present being like show, and then so present
To be present.
to be like present. Present or present?
I don't know.
Anyways,
Maybe that's the whole point, is that it
Is
can
that
be
the-
both. It's both at the
is it
same time.
Present or present?
But it's also both at the same time.
Both.
His
Both?
mind.
It's a really
Anyways.
good album.
It is a really good album. I was listening to it today when I had to drop Carson off at his work. And lastly, I feel more happy to be from Saskatchewan and feel more connected to my family and family traditions, which is
What are
fun.
your family traditions?
Well, like the Icelandic parts of my family, and also going to like the National Museum of Iceland and being like, oh, when I live in Canada, like this isn't me. This isn't for me. When I learn about history, I'm like, this isn't my history. I'm learning about Indigenous people's history, and that's what should be Canada's history. And also, like, my family hasn't been here for that long, so it's not, like, whatever. But, like, Iceland, when it goes back to 800 AD, and I'm like,
that was me.
there's a little bit of me here. It was very interesting, and also scary, because there was, like, human remains, and I was like, ah! God!
Did you go to the phallic museum?
No. Because why would I do that by myself?
No.
Imagine going to that museum just by yourself and just being like, interesting. No.
I saw an Instagram reel about this, and like while you were there, and I was like, oh shit.
My mom wanted me to go really bad. And I was like, that'd be funny if I was with anyone and could be like, haha.
But it's just you being like,
I like the shape on that one. No way. I also don't want to see that.
They put that they had like penis-shaped waffles or something. So if you wanted a
For
meal,
$800,000.
absolutely. No, and they said that they had they had like casts. No, this isn't even a joke. It was an Instagram reel I saw. Said they had cast. They had like a Jimi Hendrix cast or something. I'm like, how the fuck is that legal? I'm gonna fact check that right now to make sure I'm not. What am I gonna look up right now?
We gotta go back and see Jimi Hendrix
No,
fake
but I'm
penis.
like, imagine. That's how you're remembered. Like, keep that shit in the Rock and Roll Museum. Like,
Literally. It's like same country.
it's like so insane. Or like, you don't really need a human one.
No.
No, especially not a real
Put the big
named
whale
to a
ones.
person.
Put the big whale penises. Ha ha ha.
Like, I just
I don't want to put a face to the
I don't think
penis.
you have to put a name. Yeah, no, not at all.
I just like it's hard for me to bring myself to want to see one at all. You know? Like, why would I pay
Yeah.
to see a bunch? I don't know. They're not fun to look at.
No, not necessarily, especially like a whale. Like, what the fuck
Cool.
does that even
Can I
look
see
like?
the whale? But can I see the whale though?
Can you show me the whale?
While you fact check that, did you know we've collected 18 states with our podcast listeners?
Hell
I was looking at that's not on
a
YouTube because I
cast
can't
of
see.
Jimi Hendrix penis on display at Philological Museum in Iceland.
Like, did they ask him and he did it for them, or did that exist and they were like they tracked it
Oh my
down?
God, shut up.
Why is the penis museum in Iceland? Also?
Donated? It was donated 52 years after his death. So no, he did not. This is so insane.
Where was it for 52 years?
Well,
Who
yeah,
was using it for
did
52 years?
What did you build that with?
It didn't exist.
Oh my God.
It was made and donated 52 years after his death.
Yeah, apparently.
They dug him
He was
up and
only
they said,
27 when he died?
Really?
Yeah, it says he died
When?
in 1970 from a drug overdose at age 27. That's crazy.
Damn. There's a lot of those.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm like, I would have guessed you were like 30-something at least.
Yeah. 27 before you hit 30.
I mean, he also managed to find time to have a plaster cast made of his penis by artist Cynthia Albritton. made
also
casts of nearly 50 different rock stars' penises.
Yeah, but think of like a rock star in the 70s. You come up to them and you say, "Can I make a cast of your penis?" And they go, "Absolutely." That sounds like the most fun I'd ever have.
The most sick thing I've ever experienced. Jeez.
Just put yourself in the mind of a man.
True. They probably don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a really insane fact.
I didn't know that. I went to normal people museums, though.
They did say there was, like, multiple human casts, so who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, we've collected 18 states.
Where are they? Where are the 18 ones?
Well, our most is California. So there's California, Wisconsin, New York, Massachusetts. Hey, to our Boston listeners, shout out.
Are you a Boston listener?
Yeah.
Is it the Sterniolo triplets?
I hope so. That, speaking of triplets, that episode that we named.
Oh my god.
The episode. Oh my god. Why is it hitting you so hard?
Just keep going.
Oh, you're distracting. I can see you in the mirror, like, doing this every time. The episode. Oh my god, the episode that we named. I can't. If I block this, I can see you there. The episode. I think it was episode 24. I could be wrong. It was called "Channeling the Sterniolo Triplets" because we talked about how. Whatever, Leah said that. And that has surpassed. So before, Jesus Christ. I've never, like.
Well, they're so fast. Oh my god. It's like hurting me.
She's like, oh my god. Our first episode is our most listened to on Spotify, and the second episode was the second most listened to episode, but that one surpassed it, which is good because people probably start out with the first one, which absolutely. You can start out with the first one, but just don't listen to the second one if you want to keep listening. Like, listen to the first one. No, listen to like a recent one. And then say, oh, I like these guys. Then watch the first one for, like, context. And then watch, like, a bunch more recent ones. And then you can watch.
Exactly.
Once you're hooked, then you can go back there. Otherwise, you're going to be put off.
Absolutely. Those first few episodes are rough.
Yeah.
When did we get these lights? Episode 6 or something?
10?
You don't need to watch before episode 10.
No. 10 was the Valentine's Day episode. Watch that one and then...
Yeah.
And then just pretend that was the beginning. But yeah, we got listeners from all over. Wisconsin, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, California. Did anything fun happen to you while I was gone? Or were you just like so sad?
Near the end there, I was like, I wish I could hang out with Taryn and not Leah or Kristen or Farron. I just need the diversity also. True. Sometimes. I'm just such a needy person.
After you just said you don't need diversity.
No, I was just saying, I'm such a needy person.
Yeah, you just need to have your needs met when you want them. Yeah.
No, like, I don't think I hung out with, like, anyone when you were gone. I hung out with, like, people,
same.
like, moo. Oh, I almost started playing with it. Give me a toy. I've just been working. The air quality here has been so bad.
It gives me headaches.
Yeah, it's like not that fun to go outside, which really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It was also so fucking hot when you were gone. But you live and you learn. You get stronger every day. Oh, this is off topic. I'm camping next week, Monday to Wednesdays.
Okay.
Recording this like either Sunday or Wednesday night when I get back.
Okay. Or like later this week.
What day is it today? Wednesday? Yeah. Like, I work every night.
Okay.
But
I work Friday.
Saturday day.
Okay. We'll figure it out. We don't need to. We don't need to plan this on the episode.
I thought it'd be quicker than that.
There's something else I was gonna say.
I had one note that said, whenever I see an airplane fly overhead of me, I'm like, ooh, thank God it's not gonna crash into me right here. It's gonna keep going a bit further and then it'll crash. Because like every time I look up and I'm like, that one just looks a little bit off.
Every time I never get that when I see them, but when I hear, every single time I hear an airplane going overhead, I'm like, is that the sound of it crashing? Is that what it sounds like when a plane's going down?
Yeah, no.
Like, my entire life.
I've never known.
Every time I hear a plane, I'm like, no, but like that's the sound of it crashing, because like it's louder than it's ever been before.
Everything that happens with airplanes, I'm like, I don't know if this is normal or not.
Yeah, I have become immune to being scared of turbulence, though. I've trained myself that turbulence, I know what it is. I know that it's gonna happen when I go through clouds, and as long as it isn't like enough to spill my orange juice, my little orange juice on my tray table, then it's nothing to worry about.
Pay it no mind.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm okay. But when the airplane starts making noises, that freaks me out.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I can't just tell myself what that is.
Because coming back from like Calgary on my way back from Montreal, and then the tires squealed when we landed in Saskatoon, like so loudly. Oh my God, it freaked me out so bad.
Even though you're already on the ground.
Yeah, no, and like the whole thing is like you're most at risk in takeoff and landing, and so like I hated both so much already. Like you didn't need to tell me that.
Yeah, I think that gave me peace of mind, because I'm most afraid of like having to. It was mostly just me being like, if I have to like go into the ocean right now, I'm gonna be so pissed off.
Oh.
Like if I have to like put on a life vest and like go on the stupid slide into the ocean and someone has to like come rescue me in a helicopter, I'm gonna be so pissed off.
But
luckily that didn't
No,
happen.
but then I also think, I'm like, half these people around me are gonna try and save their stuff in the event of emergency. Mm-hmm. And I'm like Miss Thing 2 rows behind me, who's already like complaining. I'm like, or like when we land and they're already standing up and like trying to get as far ahead as
I'm gonna get trampled before I even get off the plane.
I know. I'm like, in the event of an emergency, you would do that same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, so let's like think about efficiency here. I just don't get it. It makes me so like mad and confused.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with like fire drills or like anything where it's like they have these systems in place to be like, no, this is the most safe way to go, is not
to do that.
Trampling people.
And to not trample people, you have to respect them.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm okay with walking a little slow now so I can get out of the building. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
then I don't get in a fist fight with this thing. Yeah. I don't know, it's scary because like you really can't trust anyone.
Yeah. Human nature is so scary.
Low-key been thinking about that too.
What do I do next year?
Taryn's going through a crisis.
I am, and I keep asking people to tell me what to do.
I'll tell you what to do right now. What are you thinking?
There's so many options. Okay, so I wrote this down in my notes, but I have it. It's in my mind. I wrote this.
Gap Year mentality viewers will know exactly what she's doing next year.
Well, yeah, but this is on theme with the podcast, so I feel okay with just talking about this forever. At the end of the podcast, but I wrote this down as a kind of choose your own adventure type thing, because there's lots of ways. I choose one thing. This is how my future's gonna end up, and I have to know exactly how it's gonna end up. So I could go to Simon Fraser. I spend so much money living somewhere. I can take it out of like the funds I have saved up and student loans. I'm going into a program that I'm not 100% in love with, and I won't be just doing film. I will be living off campus. I probably don't want to stay there for 4 years, or if I do, I'll probably want to leave after that. So it's like I'm just going to do something, and I don't know if it'll transfer over if I apply to a different school. No, because I don't know
Yeah, Simon Fraser's such a piece of shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, if I'm not 100% wanting to do this, why would I spend so much money doing it?
Yeah.
But my other options are I stay here. I have to get a full-time job. But I had that call with the guy with a film production company in Saskatoon. And he gave me a lot of ideas and like things to look into for volunteer work in the city, which I could look into. And then I could maybe try and make things, which I also said I was going to do this year, and then I didn't, but it's fine. But I was also traveling. But if I stay here, then I have...
And so it takes your credit card away.
And so, if I stay here, I am working, I'm making money, and then I can do film stuff, which will be easier because, as he said, if I go to Toronto, there's way more people than, like, roles to fill. Here, people are always looking for things because there's not that many people wanting to go into film. So it might be easier for me to get, like, good resume stuff, good, like, hands-on experience, volunteer work and stuff within the film industry here, even though, you know, it's not gonna... I don't want, like, that to be the end-all, whatever. But then I have exactly one friend in the city, and you're in school, and... I can't, and we can't go on trips once a month, and I will probably go insane because I'll be having to work a full-time job, and
I'll go take off to work. I'm gonna get a job,
and then I don't have to pay rent, but I also have to stay in my house, and I also have to survive another winter here when I thought that this was going to be my last Saskatchewan winter. Or I could move to Toronto and get a full-time job and make just enough money to pay rent. And maybe try and do volunteer work stuff there, but then, I don't know, it's harder to, there's more opportunities, but there's probably more people who want that opportunity, and then, but I'll be living somewhere that I'll want to stay, and then I could apply, well, if I stay here, or if I go to Toronto, I could apply for schools, again, next year, which, TMU, they have a quota. Did I tell you about this?
Yeah. It was like, by that, do you mean people from Toronto?
Yeah, like, they mostly accept people from Toronto. Like,
Yeah.
barely anyone from anywhere else, so it kind of makes sense that I got waitlisted. It's almost, like, surprising that I even got waitlisted, which is kind of, like... but I don't know what that means.
You don't know how far down the waitlist.
Literally, I have no idea. But I think you have to live somewhere for, like, 4 years for it to be... So even if I lived there for a year, I would still have to... I don't know. Because if I lived there for a year, I don't know how I would say, like, I live in Saskatchewan. Because I don't.
Yeah, I don't know when
my address would be.
Over.
So, probably have to look into that. I could also look into if I could go for a spring term at TMU, if I could apply now for a spring term at TMU. They could also let me in August.
They really could.
And I could maybe try and figure something out. Or they could just let me in now, and then I could move there, and then I could go to school there, and then
perfect.
And then it would be perfect, and then it would be perfectly on track. But that's not up to me. So,
like, waitlisted is such a piece of shit. Like,
I know. Like, just say I'm not in, and then I can figure something else out, or just like say like July 30th.
Literally. Because there's an acceptance. Like, isn't there a deadline to accept?
But it's like if people drop
out. True.
That's the whole point.
Okay, are those your options?
Yeah.
Can I respond?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I say, obviously it just depends where your priorities lie. Like, if you, like, really feel the need, like, to get out of your house and to, like, if you really feel like you need to do something that occupies, like, all your time, then Simon Fraser does make sense. Toronto, I'm not sold on that plan to just go there. Like, it would make sense to be like, because there's more opportunities, but like you're saying,
but I could do that here.
Yeah.
It's
also like, you don't have to go to the place that you want to spend the rest of your life right
I know
now.
But it's just like, why would I do that if I know where I want to spend or not the rest of my life, but like
a good
where I
chunk
want to
of
go.
it, yeah.
Especially because it's a lot of money. Like, if I was like, I'm going to go to Edmonton for school, and then, then it'd be like, whatever, I'm going to Edmonton.
That's the same thing, like, if you were to go to Toronto or if you were to go to Vancouver, like, Toronto, you'd be just as much money, except you wouldn't it'd be up to you to figure out what the fuck
Yeah.
you're doing. With Simon Fraser, like, it'd be, because you aren't, like, wanting to complete this degree, you're wanting to get into a film program.
Well, or I could apply to the major, but then if I don't get into the major, then
You're just doing something you don't want to do.
yeah.
See, that's the thing.
And I also like the program better at TMU,
Yeah.
so I'd
So we
rather
just have to get into
complete
TMU.
that program, because I'm not gonna do both.
Like, TMU, you should fucking talk to, like, Emma. Like, how did
Yeah.
she do it? She just got in. But, like...
I got the theme wrong.
It's just so close.
I got a 75 in my grade 12 art class.
Probably.
If that teacher's watching, I'm still mad at you.
Oh, Mr. Sorry, bleep
I'll
that.
bleep
Taryn,
that.
bleep that.
Yeah.
When Carson Lorley went back to visit, they were like, we talked to him, and he was like, oh, like, what about Chris and Taryn or whatever? I'd be like, I feel bad that they didn't complete AP art or whatever. I think I failed one of them too. Like, I don't remember.
I don't remember. It's funny. Did not fail me, but
he like still feels bad. I'm like,
good. I think about that once every 6 months. Well, that means twice, but once every few months, I think about it and I just get mad because I'm like, I know myself, and I could have put myself in the position to have a good art class experience and got like high 90s, like in all my other art classes, and he made me do thing that I didn't want to do, and then I would.
Okay, but I do think like they're both such very different choices, because you have to think like, if you go to Simon Fraser, you have to find an apartment and you have to pay for that apartment, and you have to get roommates that you don't know.
Or live in a basement suite, which makes me want to die. That's like the only available things if you don't have roommates.
Absolutely.
And they're also $2,000 for the
And
ugliest
A
basement suite you've ever
basement
seen.
suite? Yeah, no. No.
I'm trying to get out of a basement.
Exactly.
I'm trying to get windows in my house.
That's also a good point.
The thing is, I have warmed up to, like, I don't know what happened, but between like grade 11 or like beginning of grade 12 and now, I'm like way more okay with staying in my house.
Really?
Like, I'm just like fine with it. Maybe it's because I was getting ready to move out that my perspective was like, okay, only a year left, whatever. But I'm like, I could do another year. It's fine.
Well, also, like, you can.
Yeah, if it's
Also,
free.
Yeah, because living, like, paying for rent is just so insane, and everyone's taking longer.
And I just don't want to pay rent in, like, somewhere where I don't need to.
Exactly, because you also have to pay for school if you don't want to do the school. And what I
and then I have to work
is,
while I'm
like,
doing school.
film is very competitive, and I do think that, from my perspective, I don't know shit, but I do think that you need a portfolio.
Yeah.
For people to be like, oh, let's take a look at this girl.
Like references and stuff, yeah.
So, I think if you stay here and you just work and I can't distract you, like you say, like you claim, and no one else is ever gonna come back again. Like, it's literally
just me and the world, yeah.
After this summer, you're on your own, kid. And then, yeah, you work, because working isn't that bad. You get money, you get a lot of money. And if you can't...
Also, because I'm like, I just can't, I'm gonna have to, like, quit what I'm doing now. Or not all of it, but, like, I don't know. I just need something different.
You do.
And I'll have to get something that I would like to do.
And if you don't want to do one thing all the time, you could also get two, like, part-time. Because you've been rocking with that for a while.
Yeah.
But maybe that is just my pro-Sask propaganda now. Because I don't want to stay forever, but I'm like, I'm fine to stay here for a bit longer.
Yeah, it's like, one thing is like, I take another gap year and then I'm going to school. I could be 20 going to school with 17-year-olds, and that makes me want to throw up everywhere.
You won't be 20, you'll be 19.
I'll be 19 if I go to school now.
Yeah.
A month into school, I'll be 20. And people could be 17.
I guess, yeah.
So I could be 20 going to school with
I'd be
17-year-olds.
21, so...
I know, but you're not. That's the thing. But it's like, it's embarrassing, but it's also not a big deal. And if that's the worst
really
thing I
doesn't
have to
matter.
think about, then, like, I think
because
I'm okay.
it's literally just those first year classes.
Yeah.
All the first years are the kids. And then as people get older, they're like, oh, I need just this random class. Let me take it.
Yeah.
So you just take whatever the
Just
fuck.
me being like, please, any upperclassmen, please. I'm not actually 18 years old. Please be friends with me.
At Cash's graduation, there was fully like 60-year-old women graduating
Yeah.
with that degree. And I'm like,
No,
hell
like,
yeah.
I know that's a thing, but it's
Yeah.
like,
It's still weird.
it'll be
nerve-wracking.
mostly people who graduated
know.
high
I'm
school
like, I have to
2
go to
years
school.
after
Yeah.
me.
I'm like, I have to go to school with people younger than me.
People who are closer to my siblings' age than me.
You don't have to put it like
That's
that.
hard.
Yeah, you don't.
That's
have to put it
hard
like
for
that.
me. Just I'm like,
But
I don't know.
I'll let you sit with that. Okay. We need to wrap this up.
Okay.
Do you have an obsession of the week?
I do. I listened to a lot of albums when I was in Iceland, but then on the flight back, I started listening to the song "Together Forever" by Rick Astley. And the album that it's on, I have the CD for, but I hadn't listened to it. I had just bought it from Valley Village. And I just listened to that album on repeat for like a whole flight and in the airport. And so I would say Together Forever by Rick Astley, specifically that song, so good. And that album is so
Jesus.
fun. And got me through the airport. And also the Top Gun soundtrack, but that's okay.
But whatever, we don't care about that anymore. I say my obsession would, if you're talking about like, I've been back on a 1975 kick because they are going to, they're announcing a second leg of their tour in North America. Did you see that?
No.
I posted on my close friends, so you should have. But
Oh, like
they're going on tour
the
again.
thing you posted.
Yeah.
Was, okay. I thought you meant after that they posted
no.
a second thing. Okay.
No.
Okay.
This is the second leg. And they're going
This
to...
is the second leg.
That's the second one? That one came
the
first.
second leg.
No, because they're going to Montreal, Toronto, London, Ontario, and Vancouver. And I was looking at these dates, I was like, fuck, this is like so... It's after reading week. It's like the end of November, like 2 weeks after reading week, so I'm like, that's not really nice. And then Cash was like, are any of them on a weekend? And I was like, the Toronto one is on a Saturday. So I just leave Friday, come back Sunday. So I'm going to see the 1975. I'm going to spend another $700. And I can't wait.
Is that you and Kieran going?
Yeah. Because no one else really likes them that much. And
I'm like,
it'll be
I'm
in
going to
school.
buy a flight at the same time and then just be
And just
there.
be there.
And guess what? I'll be old enough to drink.
That's another thing. You stay here, we can go out for drinks on your birthday.
Exactly. Just us, though.
Just us and Kieran.
And Daniel Caesar.
Yeah. And not Omar Apollo, because he's too good
Ugh.
for Saskatoon. Anyways.
I would go, if Omar Apollo came to Saskatoon with Daniel Caesar, imagine we see him twice in 1 year, and he comes to our home city. Omar, if you're watching,
Please come give me a hug.
please.
You're so beautiful.
Ugh.
Come out with more music, also.
Well, that's why
That's
he's not
why,
on,
yeah.
yeah. That's why he's not on tours, because he's making music for us. Just for us.
I love
that,
you.
So that he can go on tour again, and then we can see him.
I was thinking about that concert today. I listened to Shirt on my way home from work, and I was like, I saw this live.
Also, guys, if I stay here for another year, then we can do the podcast for another year.
No, I don't think that's what that means. I don't think that's what that means.
I can do the podcast for another year. Gap Year mentality, and it's like, well,
It's like
I'm
Gap
the
Year
only one.
mentality presents a year of solitude. It'll be great. It'll be great.
yeah,
You're chilling.
I'll do something else.
Is that a teaser?
I don't know.
You come out with another webcast, a weekly webcast. She's gonna revive iCarly.
I'm gonna revive HBCs. I'm gonna do. That's. We'll wrap this up in a second. But don't worry, guys. But I was talking to Arnica. She brought up something about HBC, and we were talking about it, and I was like, that was actually crazy of us to. First of all, we were in grade 6. Other fellow grade 6th graders were making a weekly newsletter, and we said, what if we do this better, because this is not funny? We literally like, this isn't funny, we're gonna do it better.
We're gonna make it funny.
And we're gonna make it more entertaining. And then we did. And everyone loved it. And we like filmed it.
We
I
demolished
edited
the paper, and
Like-
they stopped doing it.
Literally, like, we drove them out of business. We, like, wrote skits. We had, like, song or music video or whatever of the week. Arnica did, like, news. Like, we were, like, talking about assignments that were due and, like, weather and, like, current events and
Literally.
stuff. I edited
Being like,
them.
remember this shit's due on Friday.
Literally. And then we did a live performance and we didn't film it. That
was covered.
the worst thing we've ever done is not film. We were like, no, it's fine. I literally remember being like, no, we don't need to film it.
And
It'll
we,
be too
like,
much work.
rented out a gym. We were like,
Literally,
no,
we
we
were
need
like-
the gym for this.
And
Time.
our teacher was like, yeah. We were like, can we do like a talent show, but like the main event? Like we were like hosting a talent show, and we like wrote skits, and we like we choreographed it. That's crazy that we did that. For what?
Because where'd that come from?
Like simply out of spite to be like, we can do this better. And then also being like, because Carson came up with the idea, and us telling him to his face, if you hadn't come up with the idea,
You would have
been out of here.
Because if you ever talk to the guy for more than 4 days straight, he's so insufferable.
Creatively.
Like,
Oh man.
what can I say? We're just a talented group of people.
And I was like, I can't wait for that to be like my first, you know, when I'm like big, when I'm super huge and famous. I can be
Do
like,
you have
yeah.
any of the episodes?
No, I don't.
I probably do on my old laptop.
I think cuz like in like grade 8 or something, like you were the only person who had one.
It's gotta be on that like Asus like tablet laptop thing.
Yeah.
I will see if that baby still works.
Cuz holy fuck, like if we had filmed that final, we did a
I
live.
mean, it seems like we would have deleted it if we did.
Yeah. HBC live.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Okay.
We have to get Arnica back here and do another live one.
Yes, we have to get Arnica on the freaking pod. She's in BC right now. Farron wants to be on the podcast, so we're gonna try and make that work. So look forward to that. Our good pal Rowan, who
Is
you know
coming
from the
back.
very first episode.
She needs an appearance.
Yeah, she needs to be on camera. She is back soon, tomorrow. So
Get
she will
ready
be on.
for this lineup of the
Yeah.
summer.
2 people. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy that we are back in the studio, in the dungeon.
I can't wait to go shower.
And we'll see you next week.
Episode 28.
Yeah.
Bye.
That is what comes after 27.
Bye.
Bye.
Ow.
Oh. Oh. Won't you stick to the end?
Yes.
Midnight